My name is Jasika Nicole, and I play Astrid on Fringe. I've been to, I've lost count, which is pretty cool, because I used to keep track of them, and now I'm close to 10, I think. I'm somewhere between maybe 6 and 10, and it's been awesome. It's introduced me to a whole world of fun times that I never even really knew existed, and I don't think that I ever would have gone to a Comic-Con myself. Just because I didn't really know that much about them. So it's been really great to be introduced in this way. I feel really lucky to have been invited into this community. And I've also been like around the world. I've been to Paris because of a Comic-Con. I went to London for the first time because of a Comic-Con. I got invited to one in Spain that I couldn't go to, but it's been really great. It's just opened up so many doors for me. I grew up in Alabama and I lived there for 18 years until I went to school in North Carolina. And you know, it's so easy to look back on your history growing up and say, you know, oh, that was so tough, or, you know, I had this weird relationship with Alabama, and it wasn't until I got older that I started visiting the South after living, you know, in other parts of the world, in New York and in Canada, and spending some time on the West Coast. And coming back to the South, it's like overwhelming how genuinely thoughtful and considerate strangers can be to you. And that's not to say that, you know, that stuff doesn't exist in places like New York City, because it does, but there's something very special about Southerners that you cannot replicate anywhere else in the world. And I went back to North Carolina to speak, to do the commencement speech at my school's graduation this year, which was a huge honor. And as soon as I got off the plane, there were just so many smiling faces, and I knew they didn't all watch Fringe. I knew it was just because these were really nice people. I feel like I'm rekindling my love affair with the South as an adult now. We start filming in July, and we'll finish our season, our 13-episode season, in December. So we're going to go to Comic-Con before we start filming our final season, which is interesting. And it's going to be bittersweet, because we have booked the biggest room that they have at San Diego Comic-Con, a 6,000-seater room. We've never been in there before. So it's huge, but at the same time, I know that that's going to be my last time going to San Diego on behalf of Fringe. Hopefully I'll be there for other projects in the future, you know, who knows, but it's kind of like this is the beginning of the end, and it's such a luxury to know that we have 13 episodes and that's it, so we can really pay attention to all these moments that we're going to have for the last time. You know, before you don't know if you're going to have 1 more or 5 more or no more, and now we know exactly when the end is coming. So I feel like that makes us more sensitive to the whole experience and what we're going through, and not taking everything for granted. You know, we've been doing the show for 4 years. We're used to each other. We're all, you know, we're all buddies for the most part, but you think about, you know, what's life after this going to be like? I can't wait to go into the next project, and always thinking ahead. And now is the time to really relish everything that we created together for the last 4 years. Like, it has been a crazy ride. So that is it's a really special opportunity that we have with that. I have a couple of comics that I've been working off and on for the past several years, and they're all on my website, and I've been drawing since I was really little. So it's always been something that I love doing in addition to acting. And at one point I thought I was even going to be like a fashion designer or illustrator or something, and my life didn't go down that route, but I ended up finding this really awesome way to tell stories that I never anticipated before, because I didn't really grow up reading comics. I wasn't really introduced to comics until when I was an adult. So yeah, I've got all this stuff on my website. It's jasikanicole.com. I try and post up new work as often as I can. I've, you know, been coming to Comic-Cons and selling my illustrations, and I'm hoping that at some point I will have a finished graphic novel that I can, you know, maybe self-publish myself, who knows, but bring that with me so that people, you know, will be able to have a complete work that I've done. That's like a big goal of mine to be able to do, so hopefully that will happen before too long. Well, that's when yeah, it was around that time when I first started dating women, and I had like, you know, before considered it, but just was never really sure if it was like, I don't know, if it was something that would work for me, or if it was just like this idea that seemed really cool. And I wasn't really brave enough to say, I want to go out on a date with a woman and see what that's like. And so it wasn't until that my time in Toronto, and I felt like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, go on a date and see if you like it. It might be great, it might not, who knows, but at least you will have answered a question for yourself. So I met a girl, she was really cool, and we went out on a date, and it was done. It was like, it just felt so satisfying, and I didn't even like the girl that much, you know, like we weren't together for a long time, but there was something about spending time with her, and it was just different than any other feeling that I had felt in any other relationship that I had had. And so I had been out since then, and that was, you know, like I had a small role in that movie. It wasn't really a big deal. So by the time I got Fringe, that's when people, you know, were like interested in that and wanted to know more about it, and like, oh, was it weird coming out? And it wasn't, because I was just living my life, you know, like I didn't know if I was going to do more film or television after Take the Lead, and I just didn't have anything to lose. It seemed way easier to just be who I was, as opposed to I don't know, like being careful or something, if that makes any sense. Everybody that watches this show has been completely respectful and supportive and happy that I was out, even if they're not out too. They say that it's nice to have, you know, role models that are out, regardless of what their sexuality is. And so that has been really great. And I've also been with my partner for 6 years. Our anniversary is on Monday. And she's, you know, I've been with her for such a long time. I feel like I have such an amazing support system with her and with my family, that being out and a celebrity, like they're almost like two separate things, you know? I would just like to say that we were thankful for the fans that loved us before we ever aired our television show, because we had a whole lot of people that were just excited about the premise of our show and the people that were behind it. But then we came out with a good show that people actually really, really liked after they had watched it. And so I feel like we keep gaining more fans. I can't tell you how many people have come up and said, I didn't watch Fringe for 3 years, and my friend got me onto it, and now I'm the biggest fan, you know, of the show ever. So I love that we're in a position that we're able to keep fans that we've had from the beginning and keep on gaining more fans. And I'm sure that when Fringe ends, we'll still be getting more fans of the show. So I just want to say thank you to all the people who've been there from the beginning, and people who are not even on the Fringe boat yet, who will be soon. Thank you for all the support and the love and the appreciation, and please know that it's mutual, that we absolutely understand how important you guys have been to our success as a show. Collectors care.